ham, croquetas, are probably my favorite tapas to order whenever I can. I've made these quite a few times now, and every time I do, I'm reminded why I love them so much. They're crispy on the outside, creamy on the inside, and they're so much easier to make than they look. And I thought you might enjoy learning how to make them. So, let's jump right in. First, finely dice 1 yellow onion. Then dice up 8 ounces of ham. I actually cut up more than I needed here and ended up using about half of it. Next, dice about 4 ounces of cheese. Traditionally, they don't have cheese, but my family loves cheese, so I always add it in. Now, to the hot pan, add 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Let the butter melt completely. Mine took about 3 minutes. Since the ham already has quite a bit of salt, I like using unsalted butter so I can control the seasoning myself. If you're using salted butter, you can skip adding salt to the onions later. Once it's melted, add in the diced onion. Cook the onion for about 2 minutes, just until it starts to soften and develop a little color. If you used unsalted butter, add a pinch of salt. Now add in the diced ham. This only needs about 30 seconds to a minute. You're just warming it through and letting it release some of that flavor into the butter. Next, add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. From here, keep stirring continuously for about 4 minutes. Don't walk away during this step because the flour can burn pretty quickly. By the end, it should have a light golden brown color, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Before you get to this point, make sure you already have 4 cups of room temperature milk measured out and ready to go. Once the flour is lightly browned, slowly pour in the milk a little at a time. Stir until it's mostly incorporated before adding more. It takes a little patience, but after about 10 to 15 minutes, you'll have a thick, smooth mixture without any lumps. Once everything is nice and smooth, remove it from the heat and let it cool to room temperature. Then cover it really well and refrigerate it overnight. I like pressing plastic wrap directly onto the surface so it doesn't dry out or form a crust. The next morning, I took it out for about 15 minutes so my hands did not freeze while molding them. Now mix in your diced cheese if you're using it. Again, this isn't traditional, but I honestly wouldn't make them any other way. Now it's time to shape them. I I like making mine into little logs, but you can absolutely make them into balls if you prefer. Take a tablespoon, put the mix in your hand, and shape them, or you can pipe them out of a bag. I find shaping with my hands much easier. Once they're all shaped, I cover them again and refrigerate them for another hour. This helps them firm up a little more so they hold their shape better while coating and frying. Now it's time to bread them. Set up 3 bowls. 1 with flour. 1 with 2 eggs. You may need another egg later, but I always start with 2. And 1 with breadcrumbs. If you don't want to waste, add a little at a time or add a cup of each of the flour and breadcrumbs. And get another large bowl to place them in after they have been rolled in flour. This does get very messy, so I like to roll them all in flour first. If you do all of the coating at once, you're going to have a lot of wasted coating on your hands. Once they're all coated in flour, dip each one into the beaten eggs, then into the breadcrumbs, then put them in the clean bowl. This recipe makes quite a few, so unless we're feeding a crowd, I freeze most of them. I package them into 1 or 2 serving portions so they're easy to pull out whenever we want them. Pour enough oil into a pan so it comes up a little higher than just the bottom. You want the oil hot before adding them. If the oil isn't hot enough, they'll absorb it instead of getting crispy. After about 3 or 4 minutes, I test the oil with 1. If it immediately starts bubbling, I know it's ready. Then I add the rest of that batch. Mine took about 10 minutes total, flipping every couple of minutes so they brown evenly. Every stove and every pan cooks a little differently, so just keep an eye on them. You may need to move them around the pan since some spots get hotter than others. Once they're beautifully golden brown, place them in a bowl or on a plate lined with paper towels to soak any extra grease. And that's it. Perfectly crisp, creamy on the inside, and easily one of my favorite tapas. If you've never made these before, I definitely recommend giving these a try. Thanks for being here for another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Have an amazing day or night, and I will see you in the next one real soon.